Like, this is definitely not my rock bottom. This is not the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Walk a quarter mile in the snow and the cold. I mean, there are people that have it's so much worse than I do, and it's really interesting to me how many looks and stares I'm getting. I'm now sober 11 years, which is great, and I've actually learned a lot from sobriety and how to deal with everyday life, and that's one of the things I'm doing right now is taking it one day at a time. What am I doing? Well, it's laundry day. May not look like it, but it is. Got my rolly bag here. And the best thing I can explain to you is this is what late stage capitalism looks like. Oh, this hat is going to drive me nuts the whole time, isn't it? Let me tell you how I got here. Well, in 2007, I took out a private student loan. Let me go back a little further than that. My husband came down with a very severe mental illness. In his 20s, wasn't really diagnosed until his 40s. That's a whole other story. However, we had 3 little kids. He was unable to work. I had to figure it out. My thought was, well, I'm going to do whatever I can to get through this and go to school. And I went to nursing school. And if any of you know who've been through nursing school, they are like, yeah, you don't work when you're in nursing school. You just don't. It's too much. So I took out a private student loan to live off of, and then I used the regular federal loans to pay for the education and the books and all that. Pell Grant for the books. Fast forward to graduation. And about, I think it's 6 months after you graduate, you have to start paying back your loans. Well, the private loan wanted no less than $4,400 a month, and they wouldn't even take partial payments. And I was like, well, can't really afford that, even on a nurse's income in 2010. So I put it off. Didn't pay it. But I was just doing what I had to do to survive, right? That's the only thing I could figure out. If I do this, I will be set. I will be okay. I'll make enough money to support the family. Maybe not luxury, but we'll be supported. So anyway, flash forward to now, 2004. 2004? No. Flash forward to now, 2024. And I am being severely garnished for that student loan. To the tune of $1,500 a month. Now, they would never take $1,500 a month from me before. They would only send back the check. So, okay. Now I'm getting garnished. Fine. I get it. I owe the money. Even though I only lasted as a nurse 3 years, that's fine. I'm now sober 11 years, which is great. And I've actually learned a lot from sobriety and how to deal with everyday life. And that's one of the things I'm doing right now is taking it one day at a time. I'm being garnished. My husband has disability, which means he doesn't earn very much. And we're strapped, which whatever, it's fine. We've been strapped many times before. I'm not so worried about that. Late stage capitalism is setting in, right? I have increased my income. I've actually doubled my income. 2021, I got a different job. I am now making double the hourly rate I was. And we have a relatively cheap apartment. We pay $880 for a 3-bedroom, which is amazing. No complaints there. One of my gray hairs is flying in the air in the wind. Anyway, car is broken. The washing machine for our apartment complex has been broken for about 2 months. So I'm walking to the laundromat because I cannot afford to get my car fixed. We're not quite sure what's wrong with it. My husband used to be a mechanic, so he can look at it, but he's been having some mental health issues the past few weeks, so it's been a little difficult. And I don't begrudge anybody or anything or anyone Like, this is definitely not my rock bottom. This is not the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I have to walk a quarter mile in the snow and the cold to do laundry. Woohoo, right? I mean, there are people that have it's so much worse than I do, and it's not. I'm in a relatively good mood today, so I don't know. I guess maybe this is more of a hopeful post. Like, sometimes, regardless of what's going on, you got to take things one day at a time. Like, I made it through Thanksgiving. I rested on Friday, did a few things yesterday, and I knew today was going to be laundry day. Like, I knew that I was going to have to do laundry. I knew that the car wasn't going to be magically fixed. I knew that the washer wasn't going to be magically fixed. And I knew that this was my fate. Again, not the worst thing I've been through. I just want people to understand that no matter what you're going through, you're going to get through it. You're going to figure it out. Some days are going to be easier than others. Some days you might cry your eyes out, and you might feel sorry for yourself, and that's okay. I think that's a natural, like, grieving process. What's not okay is to give up. You can give up for a couple days or whatever, you know, if you need that time to grieve or feel depressed or whatever. I say feel those feelings. That's valid. But you still got to get back up. When I think about all this, like when I zoom out and I think about all of this, it's late stage capitalism, and it's me being too dependent on a system, which I didn't realize until my 40s. Like, I'm 45. I didn't realize, not that I wasn't aware of being off the grid or things like that, I just didn't realize that it was something I could have done to kind of avoid stuff like this. Like, at the time, I was told, you know, and of course I have my own brain and my own thoughts, but I was told, you know, the only way you're going to get through this is going to college and taking out exorbitant student loans, which I did. And yes, it was my choice. And yes, I owe the money. That's the only way I could see out. And I guess hindsight's 2020. But when you find yourself in a situation like this, you just kind of have to go with it. And yes, I have friends and family that have helped and things like that. I'm not looking for a handout, though. I'm looking to kind of figure this out on my own. You know, I thought about getting a second job. Again, we're into the car issue with my job. My current job, I'm lucky to only have to go into the office every 2.5 months. So that makes it kind of nice. So worst comes to worst, when I have to go back in January, if I don't have a car, I guess I will be paying for an Uber for the 2 weeks, which will cost about $1,200. But what are you going to do? What are the alternatives? I don't know. I don't know what the alternatives are, but I'm doing the best I can to make this work. So if you are in a space where things are not going right and things are hard, yeah, it's going to be hard. But you know what? You are going to get through it. You are going to get past this. And I'm about to do some laundry. Okay, I'm headed back now to grab more laundry to go back and do more laundry. Anyway, there's a couple other things I wanted to kind of touch on. In no way am I playing a victim. I hope that that's abundantly clear. That's not the purpose of this video. The purpose is, I guess what I wanted to say was, it does feel like I'm being hit at so many levels right now. You know, the job is stressful. Always got to maintain a certain percentage of productivity, or else you're in danger of going back to the office full time, which worries me because it's not just like 2 weeks like we normally are in the office. It would be, they would keep you until. And they are making the metrics harder and harder to meet, which almost feels like it's inevitably going to be everybody back in the office, which, whatever. The garnishment, and then the broken car. So it feels like I'm getting hit on all sides. And normally, like, when we do this, we've been doing this for a month now, I think. Something like that. I lost track. My husband will ride his bike up here. He's got panniers that can fit laundry, and then I'll walk with this and we'll kind of tag team it. But he is pretty sick today. I think he's got bronchitis. He's not going to the doctor to get it checked because we can't afford the copay. You know, it's just, it's a lot. I'm not saying it's not rock bottom. It's not the worst thing I've been through. It's just a lot of little minor inconveniences. It's a beautiful day outside. I think it's 24 degrees. It's snowing, like very lightly. But it's very pretty out, and the wind isn't too bad. The wind is what kills me, whether I'm biking or walking. It's the wind. But it's nice today, so I'm taking advantage of that and being grateful that it's not like wet snow and wind and ice, because I don't know that I could do this. And then if I can't get to the laundromat, then I end up hand washing clothes in the sink. So again, which is fine, but they just don't come out as clean. It doesn't matter how many times I scrub them or how long I let them soak. It just doesn't get them as clean. And I don't have like a washboard, so that's out of the question. I've got about 2 more minutes and I'll be back at my place, get more laundry, go back, do it again. So a few more trips and I should be done with all this by noon. I don't even know what time it is now. I think it's around 9 a.m. So about 3 hours. It would probably take me just as long as if I did everything in an individual washer and dryer, so it's not really like I'm wasting a lot of time. That's how I look at it. And I'm getting my exercise, and I'm outside in this beautiful weather. I know. People are like, beautiful weather? What do you mean? I don't know. I was built for this kind of weather, I think. Yeah, it's cold, but this is much better than warmth. I'm not sure if it's the hot flashes from the menopause or what, but it's definitely, I'll take this any day over 80, 90 degrees. That's just a personal thing. I know a lot of people disagree with me on that, and that's okay. Totally cool. I just can't do it. Heat kills me. It just really does. Alrighty, I'm almost back home. I'm gonna grab more laundry, head back on out. Look, the sun came out. It's so pretty. I have nothing but gratitude. It is so pretty. All right, I've got all my laundry in, and again, I'm hopping back on here because it's really interesting to me how many looks and stares I'm getting. And I can't say that I blame people. I mean, honestly, anytime before that I'd see somebody walking in any kind of weather for any kind of reason, like headed to a destination, I always like felt sorry for them, or I wondered, gosh, what did they do to not be able to afford a vehicle or other transportation? And it's so easy for it to happen. And again, this all ties into my feelings on, I should have set myself up more sustainable. I thought that by getting a job and being able to afford, rent and cars and all that stuff, that was going to make me self-sufficient. But nothing could be further from the truth, in my opinion. We don't live anywhere near mass transit. It makes it really difficult to be without a vehicle. I'm not mad at anybody or anything or any entity other than myself. But I just didn't see this coming. When I bought into capitalism, I thought it was something that was sustainable. When I believed that, I could do this. I could be dependent like everyone else is. I assumed I had the same chances. Not only am I not fulfilled with, the daily hustle and bustle, I find that kind of grind isn't fulfilling. I thought that I would feel some sort of fulfillment by busting my butt, and actually where I find myself more fulfilled and where I feel more accomplished is doing something like this, like walking out in the cold to go do laundry to come back. Like, I actually feel like I accomplished something. I actually feel fulfilled. And so for me, I think this all comes down to necessity and basics. I think I need to simplify. I know I need to simplify. The issue is I'm kind of stuck here in this way of living because that's kind of what I've set up for myself. I'm trying to figure out how to undo that. Let's be honest here. My 30s were a shit show. I graduated as a nurse. I think I was 31. By the time I was 34, I had succumbed to addiction and lost my career. Even though I went through HPRP and have been sober ever since, I still lost my nursing license. I wanted to jump on here real quick. I've showered and since done all my laundry, so life is good. But I wanted to jump on here real quick to, I wanted to mention a little bit more about HPRP. What that is, if you hold a professional license, healthcare license, and you are in the throes of addiction, you have to go through this program. This is the state of Michigan's program. Every state has a program like this. They do vary, but generally they're the same. For this program, the requirements were that I was in the program for 3 years and that all expenses were out of pocket. They didn't take insurance. My understanding at the time was that that's how it was set up on purpose. So everything you pay was out of pocket. It's very expensive. It's about $30,000 a year, and they don't let you work for the first 4 to 6 months at all. So it was costly. And what happened with that was when I could no longer afford to pay them, they no longer protect your license and they report you to the state board, and then you lose your license. So even though I'm been sober since then, I still lost my license. To get it back, you have to hire a professional licensing lawyer, go in front of the state board, take refresher courses, and that comes to the tune of about $65,000 to $70,000. So. And then at 37, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, went through surgery and chemo. My 40s have been great, though, honestly. For the 5 years I've been in them, I have really no complaints. You know, suffered a few broken bones, a few minor injuries, but my health is good. I can't really complain about that. There are people that may not have the ability to walk and to do what I'm doing. So I'm definitely grateful to have legs that work and to be in relatively good health. I guess all in all, this is just my cross to bear, I guess. So yeah, I'm grateful. I am actually grateful. I'm feeling in good spirits. I'm feeling okay. And I hope you are too.